myself to just intra-Africa payments or intra-Africa cross-border payments. And to be able to do some of these things, if you are an importer buying something, so there are FMCGs that buy local products. Based in Lagos, they buy local products from UK, right? Or they buy local products from, what do you call it, Burkina Faso. And they have to deal with an exporter. Now, recognized or very big exporters who have a very formal operational activity to do this process to get a transaction done. And if you look at it, sometimes there are several corresponding banks. I limited it to about 2, but there are several corresponding banks. Sometimes there are payment systems in between. So by the time all these things are done, the transaction may take 2 days or 3 days or 1 week or 2 weeks. And the cost level keeps on increasing. That's why it's moving from one point to another. And for me, this does not allow for an easy flow of cross-border payments. Because whether we like it or not, and I know we have, and I'm excited about PAPS 2. I can't wait for PAPS 2 very well. But we need to create a system where between ourselves we can be able to trade. Unfortunately, I know we put these regulatory processes in place to protect ourselves. But when it becomes a bottleneck, people find alternatives. Like it becomes like water, side finds its way. I've witnessed a big FMCG that packs money in his car boots and drives like 300 kilometers to another country to buy a raw material. Because that supplier there does not have bank accounts, that supplier there does not believe in share documentation or share invoices for him, but he desperately needs those raw materials. So it's something that we have to create a way to resolve. And these are some of the solutions that have been proposed. These are just suggestions, they are not something that actively is happening yet. So global solution infrastructure in terms of simple settlements, where funds are received in one bank account, and then based on the other bank partnership you have, the local currency is directly converted and dispersed. With proper compliance screening, thorough PEP sanction screening, and all those kind of things. And this can be done. This is not like, and this is a bit, there's a bigger conversation with PAP, and this is a simple solution that we provide from a currency settlement approach. Because remember, one of the key hindrances, one of the key implications is how do we settle these currencies? Working with banks, how do we settle this currency? Do we go through multiple corresponding banks? How do we remove the multiple corresponding banks? And then when you have a partner bank or one bank, I know there's a bank I can't mention it that is doing an African payments API that people can send money from one country to another country. And this is a solution that we are proposing that you can easily make this kind of settlements where the bank, for instance, a Pan-African bank in Lagos, in Accra and Lagos can receive GHS and they easily remit the NGN, not converting it to the USD, but doing what we call the set-off settlements. But these transactions, in terms of B2B flows, will go through all the regiments of international transfers or all the regiments of normal transfers to make sure that we avoid people using it to do all kinds of things, following all the AML, FAT, CFT, what do you call it, policies and laws that exist in every legislation. Now, other finance, let's talk about other finance and what we do. So we've created a unique API, and currently this API allows different businesses to integrate, or different banks and fintechs to integrate and be able to make last mile payouts. And has been tested in several jurisdictions because we are licensed in the UK by the FCA, and then we are licensed in Spain for Europe by the Bank of Spain to be able to do these terminations seamlessly. And we work with different multinationals and different partners. In Africa, our current focus has mostly been doing inward remittances into the continent. But our goal is to try and enable this API locally for also banks and fintechs to be able to do cross-border payments and be able to do last mile payments at ease without any challenges. We have intensive payment trails, and my first session, I said my keyword is collaboration. We collaborate a lot with payment services, we collaborate a lot with banks, and our key focus is to work within the regulatory framework. In certain instances, we will sometimes draft proposed policies and propose kind of new ways that we can do things with regulators to get transactions and numbers done. And then we have the web platform that allows the currency settlements I mentioned earlier. Now, I mentioned that we started in Kenya in 2013, and we are 10 years actually this year. But we are currently headquarters in London. We do almost 200 plus pairs. We've done 4 million transactions. We have 226,000 customers worldwide. We've done 9 billion transfers so far. We've done transactions across 115 countries. We are PCI DSS certified, and I think last month or so, we got our ISO 2701 2022 certification after our successful audit. So in terms of input security and in terms of making sure that we protect whatever transaction is going on our platform is very key for us. We are regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, Bank of Spain. We have a PSP license in Bank of Uganda, and then we recently were part of the people that got the IMT license in Nigeria. So thank you very much, and we're looking forward to work with you to drive cross-border payments in Africa.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a few minutes. Can we take some questions from Nana? May I ask another Nana in the room to ask the gent Nana in the room a question? Anyone got a question? Nana, any closing moments to your life? Something special? Word of advice?
Yeah, I think there's huge potential within the market, and we need to collaborate more from a banking, fintech, and regulatory perspective to drive cross-border payments. Perhaps it's great, it's one rail. We can create multiple rails to make sure transactions are seamlessly done without mishaps.
Any final words? Your last words.
The last word.
Yeah, your last word.
Collaboration.
To collaboration.
Yeah.
Nana, thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. That was, although there was a bit of a question between the technical part, but you've done your presentation in no time. But thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so we move on to the next keynote presenter, and he's a local boy. Dennis Zaga, a good friend of mine. He's the group head of business banking with FSDH Merchant Bank Limited. Previously, he was the head of digital banking for the business banking unit at CMB Bank. And when me and Dennis were working on, putting the concept together for this keynote presentation, which is about business banking, we thought of adding a little bit of spice to it. And there's Netflix, there's Amazon Prime, but there's Disney Plus as well. So making business banking as the Disney Plus of digital banking services, that's the next keynote to be presented to you by Dennis Zaga. Sir, there's the slide changer. Forward and back, so I have to.
Am I okay? Good afternoon. How many minutes do I have? 5? How many minutes?
You have a 20-minute slot, and put it as 15 plus 5. So
Okay.
Presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon again. First, thank you, Fad and BI for putting this together. Fad and I go a long way back from meeting in Johannesburg, or Johannesburg, as you want to call it. I will be quick. Fad gave me this very daunting topic. So please bear with me as I attempt to take you through my Disney Plus, as I try to take you through my context. I am a futurist, so I will give you present day context, but largely I'm speaking in terms of the future. Okay, so these outlines from 5. So we'll be looking at how banks leverage digital to onboard business banking customers. We'll be looking at, without reading all that those are the things we'll be looking at. Where should I point this to? Okay. Just a brief insight into FSDH, people who pay my salary. Okay, so it's I work in a merchant bank, and we have over 31 years of rich experience. In the last 10 years, we have diversified into various separate companies, and there's a whole crew right now. We typically play in corporate banking, but business banking is a new customer segment play for us. Okay, and then there's a group which you will see in the following slide. So FSGH Merchant Bank, which is where I work, there's Power Pensions, we have significant shareholders there. There's FSGH Asset Management, Capital, and then our play into the fintech space, digital banking, is called Heroes. So I have earned my salary, if you will. So diving into the topic, we'll be looking at business banking, which is it's a different play from consumer banking. And business banking typically looks at loans, checkings, account, savings account, but specifically for small to medium-sized businesses. Next, we'll be looking at it in the context of Disney Plus, and it's essentially an on-demand streaming service that's owned and managed by Walt Disney. It's not available in Nigeria, but if you use Netflix, then you understand what this does. And of course, we'll be looking at it in the context of digital banking, which is the availability of banking services online. So just to flesh out more, to bring that image before us, again, it's an on-demand service. You subscribe to it just like you do Netflix and what's the other one in Nigeria? Amazon Prime. You know, and you can watch it on multiple devices with multiple user profiles. I wanted to start with a bit of context that looks at statistics globally, and this is gotten from the World Bank. So SME businesses, which is typically what business banking is servicing, make up 90% of businesses worldwide. So this is huge. 50% of employment worldwide comes from these kind of small businesses. And they contribute an average of 40% to the national GDP in emerging economies. This is significantly higher. So that's for formal SMEs. When you add in formal SMEs, that 40% goes even higher. 70% of formal jobs are generated by these small businesses, again in emerging markets. 40%, so we go down market a bit, we're now looking at the micro. 40% MSMEs, that's micro, small, and medium enterprises in developing countries, still have unmet financing needs. And it's in the region of 5.2 trillion every year. And 50% formal SMEs again do not have access to formal credits. So this is global now. This is global. This is not for developing countries. And the gap is even higher or wider when you include informal businesses. So bringing this context to business banking, why is personalization critical in business banking as it is in retail? We have, as banking industry and fintech and the partnership that has evolved over time, we have focused more on retail, I guess, because it's easy to deal with individuals. You know, so how do we begin to replicate this in the business space? Customers, they want their banking services to work, just like the experience they get from payments, the experience they get from Netflix, the experience they get from shopping apps. Analytics and AI, artificial intelligence, play a huge part in today, and this involvement or this contribution will continue to increase. And how do we begin to bring this into play for business banking? And you find that it will blur lines between man and machine. We'll look some more into that. And then old certainties are fading away, and many parts of the value chain are already under pressure, as we saw starting from COVID-19. So this is a context I have discussed in several of my presentations, really and truly what personal banking or consumer banking has gotten used to. So it's intuitive products and services or services. They are essentially the focus. The services are personalized, the experience is largely seamless, and they have an opportunity for self-service. They can self-onboard, set up and customize, and then there's relational service, so there's access online, instant help, or back-end help that they can speak with. You know, and we need to begin to have to build the same kind of construct and extend the same kind of design thinking, if you will, to small businesses. So I begin to move very fast here, but let me take some time to explain this. So what a business banking customer needs, all the way from personalized customer engagement to the input of advanced data analytics, bringing in AI, big data, intuitive user interface, integrate it to internal systems, and then there's critical need for real-time feedback. When you consider all this, and I'm refreshing this out in a bit, you really want to ask yourself the question, is it still banking as we know it? Okay, I want to talk about onboarding. So I've used FSDH as a case study here. One of the major gains in consumer banking for onboarding is that people can onboard seamlessly without visiting a physical branch, without going into a physical office. How can we begin to replicate this for business banking? If any of you work in the non-consumer segment, you begin to appreciate the challenges. So for instance, if you're onboarding a company, they will bring their letters, their company registration documents. How do we begin to digitalize this? They will bring their identification cards. They will bring other verification. How do we begin to think, bring it into a digital format that can make onboarding for business banking customers easier? You can see I'm starting with the mobile phone. I want to assume this is to be taken for granted. It is the most profused proliferated internet-enabled device that most people carry. You know, and even though I was going to say the cost is coming down, the naira is going up, so it is what it is. So, firstly, you want to start from, you want to be able to get digital marketing. Again, you flow better with me if you look at it first from a consumer banking context. How do we market and make discovery available to consumer banking customers? That same thing has to be done for business banking customers and allow them to sell from board. Let's begin to explore that. So KYC, which I said is a big part of that. We need to be able to validate business banking registration details using APIs from CAC. This is, I can't remember how many times I've been to the CAC before. And since I left that desk, I in fact said that I've left the pursuit of that for a bit. But this is a project I know they are working on, and this is the kind of thinking that we need. I don't need you to come into my office to open an account and present the physical copies of your CAC document. Give me your RC number, and I will pull all the details I need and pull all the documents I need, and I can do that I'm using APIs. Biometric verification. So the context of this is that if I have a customer that has, let's say 5 signatories, what I will do is download my app, and each signatory gets a link sent to his email, and with that they can self-onboard. So I can now come to the consumer part that we have perfected so much. I can do your BVN validation, I can onboard you using those details, and I can also go ahead using the biometrics on your phone, Face ID and fingerprints to authenticate you. And also use, I thought I added that here, but video, using video capture to just check, do a liveliness test. I will talk about the big part of my presentation is third-party APIs, which largely speaks to open banking. But again, like I said, with identification, as you continue the KYC journey, you are able to onboard each of the signatories to the account. And then they can, so it's either I know we have APIs to the international passport to driver's license, so you can actually put those APIs. You can validate them against the BVN details. They actually have pictures of individuals on the BVN data, you know, and then if you will, this is an option, you can choose to have them upload their ID cards and you can confirm other details. Very important is real-time online chat. And this, so it makes it smooth for people who do not have to go from the internet to their phone to conclude the transaction. So like I was saying, third-party APIs in partnership with tech companies is very important. And how, just to give us a sense of how we begin to do that, for a business banking customer or an SME, if you will. Their business is beyond banking. So there are things like sales, bookkeeping, and they need access to a marketplace. Marketplace because you want to be able to give them the access to sell digitally. You want to give them the access to network with other people of like minds. Access to inventory management software to help them, of course, manage their sales and their inventory. And then payments that will how you enable the automation of all these using third-party APIs in addition to some of the services we offer. And very important, non-financial services. SMEs need great assistance here in the areas of capacity building, coaching, networking, events, online courses. I actually have here with me my colleague, her name is Gold. So we have a separate desk for women in business. So as a separate non-financial service that we have crafted also for women in the businesses. But you need to bring all these again into, like I said, the third-party APIs that you provide in the service. Why is it important to teach our customers? Let me read from here. The future of work is a personalized combination of man and machine. This is where, so I'm now going into the future part of my talk. It's actually a combination of man and machine that is aided by artificial intelligence. It's a new world, completely new world. Business activities are automated. So these activities is the business being automated and that value being given to the customer through his phone. Really introduces a new level of automation. I wanted to take time to talk about this, but I think my time is. So the future is really going to be driven by digital assistants that are artificial intelligence enabled. As a business person, I want to be able to have voice prompts. I want to have phone notifications, in-app, in-phone notifications that interact with me, telling me about my business, pulling external data from the global, from the macro economy, and bringing what is relevant to me as it relates to my business. So I'm not waiting to know how Hamas and Israel are fighting and how that impacts my business. I'm able to pull that up. And I'm rushing now, but very quickly, all this can be displayed through a dynamic dashboard that's available on the phone. Of course, this must have a very key human element because you don't want to take away that human interaction. So bank branches will still remain, even though we automate. We'll be able to continue these engagements via video calls and call centers. And without bothering to read every other thing, businesses really require solutions that leverage the learnings from consumer banking to digitize their solutions. So, and this is it in summary. Essentially, what we have done for consumer banking is to start thinking about how we can replicate this for businesses, bring in artificial intelligence, because really and truly the future of business banking is a blend of man and machine. Thank you. These are my closing thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Can we take a question to Dennis? Any final remarks?
No worries.
No worries. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you very much.
If you want my details, I'm taking me off.
All right. Thank you. That was Dennis Zaga. And we will have a short break right now. Coffee is served outside. And then we will reconvene for the final session at 4 p.m. local time.
You want to come here tomorrow? No, tomorrow. Oh, I thought today is your last day. No, tomorrow is Thursday. So tomorrow is for awards. Awards. So are you coming tomorrow? Sẹ́yìn àti ẹ̀jọ́ ṣiṣẹ́ yìí. What about this? Everyone àti ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn. Kí ni sẹ́yìn lọ́la professional set? Ó bàtà. Kámẹ́rà yìí. Fọ́tò ni mo fi ń yà. Eléyìí ni mo fi ń ṣe fídíò ẹ̀yẹ mo fi ń ṣe fídíò. Ilé ìgbèbí ló ń pa ní mo lè ṣe live ìrọ̀lẹ́ o mo lè stream live ẹgbẹ́ mo lè stream live ìgbà máa pọ̀ mẹ́tẹ̀ ọdún sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n ní
Tẹ bá sì rí ilé ìwé ṣe máa ra prime base
èlò ní prime
50 ml. Ó ní ìjẹ́ ṣe máa rí bí 80. Ṣe máa rí 80,000.
àkọsílẹ̀ ẹ̀fẹ̀.
Ṣe máa rí 80,000. Ilé ìgbọ̀ngàn ló ń tẹ̀lé ìgbà. Ẹ mọ̀ pé tó fẹ́ sí
Láti ìjọ primeless ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ọkùnrin ibi mi náà mo ní ilé. Wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ fẹ́ra ẹgbẹ́ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ká tó lọ. Gbọ́dọ̀ máa tètè sá lọ.
Canon 50 ml.
Ọ̀nà bẹ̀ sí gbọ́dọ̀ yẹn. Ọ̀fẹ́ nọ́mbà ẹ̀ tó fẹ́ sá lọ mọ́ mi lọ́wọ́. Mo lè sá, mo ti mú ẹ báyìí, mo lè sá lọ mọ́ mi lọ́wọ́. Ó ti ti lè gbà. We do stream live lórí ẹ̀ tí mo ṣe tó.
Camera yẹn tó máa wò kí n stream yìí. Tó mo tiẹ̀ lè fi lè